Lake Suwa. The two friends were staying in a tiny inn by the shore of Lake Suwa. They were the only guests in the inn, and while the lake was a popular sightseeing destination for many, for those in the know, it was also a popular location to see something else. Ghosts. He struggled to sleep that night as his friend kept tossing, turning, and snoring. Fed up with it, he got out of bed and moved to the inn's smoking area to light a cigarette and maybe get his mind off things. They were so close to the lake that he could hear the waves lapping at the shore outside. But then he realized that wasn't the only thing he heard. Was that voices? It sounded like numerous women nearby. Not just nearby, but right there in the inn. Doors opened and closed, and footsteps echoed as several women seemed to run throughout the building. He looked around, but nobody was there. Later, while taking a bath, he noticed something else that made all the hairs on his arm stand on end. A figure on the other side of the frosted glass door. That was most definitely not his friend. His friend was thin, while this figure was rather plump. Who on earth could it be? Had another guest shown up? Yet when he asked the owner about it, she shook her head. He and his friend were still the only people in the inn. So then, who were all those women he heard? And that figure he saw on the other side of the door? Were they really drawn here because of the lake? With a circumference of roughly 16 kilometers, Lake Suwa is located in Suwa City, Nagano Prefecture. It's the largest lake in the prefecture, and it's a popular destination for canoeing, smelt fishing, and a variety of water activities. Interestingly, on clear days you can even see Mount Fuji from here. It's located roughly the same distance from Japan's most sacred mountain as Tokyo is. But its natural beauty and abundance of water activities are not why it's included here in this video. No, it's here because many people claim that it's also haunted. Numerous real-life accidents have happened in or near the lake over the years to help give it this reputation. For example, in 2004, a young boy went missing near the lake. Unfortunately, by the time he was found, he was already gone. In December 2009, a car drove into the lake, killing all inside it. In February 2012, a burnt-out car was discovered beside the lake that also had 2 bodies inside it. There are also occasional reports of drowned bodies found floating near the lake's floodgates. Many of these are believed to be people who willingly jumped into the lake, and not simply those that met with misfortune while swimming or partaking in water sports. Naturally, the sheer number of incidents that have occurred near or in the lake have led to a healthy number of ghostly rumors surrounding it. For example, some claim that if you pass the public phone by the floodgates office at night, you might spot a ghostly woman in a white dress who will mimic your walking patterns, stopping when you stop and walking when you walk, until you leave. There are also stories of voices calling out from the water late at night, trying to lure people in. And if the voices don't get you, then perhaps the ghostly hands will, as they reach out and try to drag you to the other side with them. For this reason, many warn to stay away from the lake's shores at night. But these ghostly legends aren't just modern. Rumors of strange happenings at the lake have apparently been around for hundreds of years now. One common story states that during the Meiji era, several young women worked at a nearby silk mill. Their conditions were so harsh, however, that unable to take it anymore, they all fled to the lake and threw themselves in. After that, their ghosts continued to haunt the area, and if you happened to also be a young woman who was suffering mentally, then it was almost guaranteed that they would pull you into the lake to suffer with them. Then there is the fascinating legend of Takeda Shingen's underwater tomb, said to lie at the bottom of Lake Suwa. Takeda was a samurai and daimyo from the Sengoku period, known popularly as the Tiger of Kai. He was considered one of the most skilled military leaders of the era, but on May 13th, 1573, he died under mysterious circumstances that people still cannot agree upon. Perhaps he was shot. Perhaps it was an old wound. Perhaps it was pneumonia. Either way, the man was so respected that when his greatest rival heard the news of his death, he reportedly cried. As the stories go, Takeda's death was apparently kept secret for 3 years, however, as his younger brother stood in for him. Then, late on April 12, 1576, Takeda's stone coffin was lowered into Lake Suwa according to his will. But did this actually happen? The story of Takeda's underwater tomb naturally captured the imaginations of many in the modern age. And in 1987, the Geographical Survey Institute even surveyed the lake bed using an underwater sonar. There, they discovered what appeared to be an artificial depression in the lake bed, roughly 25 meters long, in the shape of a diamond. This same diamond shape just so happens to feature on the Takeda clan family crest. Could the legends be true? Could famed military leader Takeda Shingen really be resting at the bottom of Lake Suwa? Further surveys were carried out in the following years, and although they were unable to confirm whether the depression was man-made or natural, they did discover another hole inside it that was roughly 3 to 4 meters long, and inside that, something made of metal that was around 70 to 80 centimeters long. Some argued that it was perhaps just a drum can, but a 25 centimeter stone tablet was also discovered, as well as a bowl with a Chinese bellflower crest on it. There was, at least, some man-made stuff down there. But was it really Takeda's tomb? To this day, that question has, perhaps surprisingly, never been definitively answered. Which is to say, no evidence has ever been found of Takeda's remains down there. But considering that he died nearly 500 years ago, and Lake Suwa is a pretty big lake, well, it's like looking for a needle in a haystack, isn't it? Especially if his tomb was nothing more than an urn or tiny coffin with his remains. Either way, Lake Suwa has a long and rich history, and is still considered one of Nagano's most popular sightseeing attractions. So, if you're in the area, why not check it out? Just perhaps avoid it at night. Just in case, you know? Amagase Dam. While on a trip to Kyoto, he decided to stop by Amagase Dam. It was 7 PM, so naturally, all the other tourists had already gone home for the day. The area was oddly silent. But rather than creeping him out, he felt grateful. Now he could look around at his own pace and in peace. Yet as he looked around, he started to regret not coming earlier. By himself in the darkness, all that water around him, he actually was starting to feel a little afraid. And then, as if on cue, he heard something splash in the dam. That was a fish, right? Curious, he turned to look in the direction of the sound. The sight before him made his breath catch in his throat. Someone was in the water. They were a short distance away, but it appeared to be a fully grown man. No way. Is he drowning? Does he need help? He panicked. Hey! Are you okay? He called out. The splashing in the water suddenly got worse. Briefly, he debated running to find help or just straight up calling the police. But in the mere seconds it took for those thoughts to cross his mind, suddenly the noise stopped. the figure was gone. Eh? He leaned over the railing, but the surface of the water was perfectly still and quiet. Not even a tiny ripple. What on earth had he just seen? Was it perhaps the spirit of someone who had died in the dam, still seeking help, even now? Construction began on Amagase Dam in Uji City, Kyoto, in 1955, and it was finally completed in 1964. It's an arch dam built on the Uji River, and its main purpose is flood control, but it also powers a hydroelectric power station. It's also one of the largest spillway tunnels in all of Japan, and the lake that it created, Lake Ho'o, Lake Phoenix, is a massive tourist attraction located just a short distance from Lake Biwa, Japan's largest freshwater lake. As with many dams built around the country at the time, a village was sunk in order to build it, and its inclusion here means that, yes, it has more than its fair share of creepy stories surrounding it. In fact, Amagase Dam is also considered to be one of the most famous jumping locations in the entire country. Over the years, numerous people have jumped from the dam to their deaths below. Many believe that their spirits continue to linger in the water, but they're not alone. Their fear, their hatred, their malice, it combines with that of the villagers whose homes were destroyed in order to build the dam, and this mass of negative feelings continues to hang around in the water even today. Some even claim it's actually the resentment of the villagers that attracts lost and lonely souls to the dam to join them. Never mind the fact that nobody was in the village when it was sunk, of course. Although it is deniable that many were unhappy to be forcibly moved so the dam could be built, nobody actually died over it. And just like these spirits were supposedly dragged to the dam to end their lives there, it's said that they then continue the cycle, summoning more susceptible souls to join them in the watery depths below. If you are perhaps not feeling your strongest mentally, then you are warned to avoid the dam so that you don't fall victim to their summons. It would also appear that some of these spirits are stuck in another type of cycle, with common reports mentioning figures seen jumping over the dam over and over again. At first sight, you might panic at seeing someone suddenly jump over the edge, but when you rush over, nobody is there. But if you hang around long enough, you may see someone again jump from that exact same spot. Over and over again, all night, stuck in a loop of eternal torment. Just be careful they don't try to drag you down with them too. On an interesting related note, although access to the dam used to be available day and night, in 2008, the road leading to the dam was closed in an effort to prevent people from jumping, and now it's only open during the daytime. But that doesn't mean the streets or the dam are empty at night. On the contrary, the area is popular with street races, perhaps because it's now closed at night. So, you may have things to worry about other than spirits if you find yourself there after hours. The area is, perhaps not unironically, also known for headless riders, those infamous spirits who lost their heads in traffic accidents, but continue to haunt the roads long after their death, usually looking for their missing head, but also sometimes just because they really love racing that much. The area is known to be quite foggy at night, and with no streetlights, it's a breeding ground for accidents even without supernatural help. And if you visit the area yourself by car, you might find it suddenly breaking down for no reason. Numerous stories claim that cars simply break down on their way to Amagase Dam for no visible or even logical reason. Or, if they don't stop working entirely, they suddenly start acting weird. Again, without explanation. Another common sighting at the dam is of the ghostly guard. As the story used to go, if you visited the dam at night, you might notice a strange security guard who doesn't interact much with people. But as you pass him and then look in the mirror, suddenly he's no longer there. If you turn around and look with your naked eyes, there he is. But again, look in the rearview mirror and nothing. Despite attempts to stop people from visiting the dam to jump, reports still come in regularly of bodies found in and around the water. Sometimes they're fished out by someone unlucky enough to be in the area at the time, and other times they're found in cars nearby. There is a wealth of ghostly stories surrounding the dam, yes, but it still maintains a reputation for real-life horrors, alongside being a popular tourist destination as well. But what did you guys think of this one? Are there any other haunted locations that you'd like to see me explore? Don't forget to check out our playlist in the comments if you're looking for even more haunted locations from around Japan. And if you'd like to help support this channel so you can get more content like this, please consider hitting that join button down below as well. Every bit of support really helps. Thanks guys, and I'll see you again next time.